Back in the day, Jordan Peele used to be a comedic actor on shows like Mad TV. If you haven't seen that show, please do so. I beg you. Even ones where he has tagged alongside his future partner in sketch comedy, that being Keegan-Michael Key, who in turn would eventually create with him the show on Comedy Central, Key and Peele, and even produce a movie together. I've seen some sketches here and there, and admittedly I have not seen a lot of their sketch comedy show, nor have I personally seen Keanu. But the one thing that I have seen from Peele in particular would have to be his horror comedy projects that I am passing proclaimed to be incredible works that gel the genres so peerlessly. And since his latest film has arrived in theaters, I felt like it was appropriate to rewatch them and see how they hold up. Get Out, for instance, holds up quite well. But it's not without its issues, particularly in instances in the narrative that didn't make the biggest amount of sense. But aside from that, the best parts about Get Out still managed to succeed just like it did 5 years ago. That being said, do I still feel the same for Peele's second film by the name of Us? No. Now that's not to say that there isn't good things about Us, particularly with the acting, the cinematography, the score, and whatnot. It's just that when conflicting with aspects about how things are established in this world that are bizarre in execution, a narrative that is primarily about social commentary, admittedly kind of like Get Out, except the commentary was a little bit more obvious and on the nose than I remembered, and the twist that originally, while it caught me off guard, doesn't quite exactly hold up today upon repeated viewings. Peele might have hit a sophomore slump with this second movie, but hey, let's see if he can execute his next project, Nope, with a junior year caliber comeback performance in a movie about Giorgio Tsoukalos' favorite topic, a life form that is allergic to water and fearful of pantry doors. The title of an inferior sequel. That's right, Aliens. And after seeing the movie itself on a scale from nope to yup, which is what the internet seems to do with this movie as of late, I would have to give it a sure. But in all seriousness, for what it achieves, Nope is actually a really solid sci-fi thriller about alien abduction that is not as quite as good as Get Out, but it's certainly better than Us. So with that being said, ladies, gentlemen, conspiracy theorists of all ages, time to put on your tinfoil hat and sit back and relax, because it's time to do some reviewing. The film is about a struggling duo of California caretakers, OJ and Emerald Hayward, who are working on their father's ranch as part of his family business of training and handling horses for movies and TV shows. One night the two begin to notice very suspicious and mysterious activity. From electricity malfunctioning in the house, to horses running off in the distance, to noticing an unidentified flying object flying across the sky, disguising itself as a cloud, and sucking up and killing Californians. So OJ and M, along with some helpful companions, must find a way to expose the existence of aliens in the sky, and to also prevent it from attacking any more people. Positives first. Peele's direction when it comes to working with actors is incredible, and in Nope, it is just another example as such. While their characters don't have a lot of characterization and development for us to grow attached to them, I would have to say that Daniel Kaluuya and Keke Palmer as OJ and M have effective chemistry together, as well as them doing an inordinate job performing as people who are just mere opposites of one another, or one is very soft-spoken and nonchalant, and the other is the much more eccentric, extroverted, boisterous comedic relief. But admittedly, there are some instances where Keke might be playing it too much into the comedic relief. Because of the way that she delivers her lines sometimes, it feels like she's doing her basic interpretation of Chris Tucker's stand-up, which kind of gets annoying after a while. Brandon Pereira as Angel, who is a Fry's employee looking for some adventure in his life, is a very solid addition and provides a very adequate performance as the film progresses. But an actor who I haven't seen since his last appearance on a zombie show that should have ended like 4 seasons ago is Glenn himself, Stephen Young, who steals the freaking show. I know that he's been in other stuff such as Minari and Burning that I personally haven't seen yet, but cut me some slack when I say that his performance in Nope is simply terrific. He is the showstopper of this whole piece, and he spews so much personality and charisma onto the big screen, despite the fact with how little screen time that he has. What's curious about that is that despite his partial screen time, his character is given a horrific and extremely lengthy backstory as it translates to his character and his ultimate plan towards the second act that you feel like should have been a whole movie in and of itself, or perhaps the central focus of the movie, or honestly, should have been just trimmed down for somebody whose presence is just so here and there. An exceptional facet complementary to Peele's filmmaking is his management of cinematography. Any other shot that is exemplified in Us and Get Out makes it pretty evident that he has an incredible eye for storyboarding and how he wants his frames of his vision to become a reality. For Nope, he puts it upon himself to film with IMAX cameras. And who else better to use those cameras than Hoyt van Hoytema, the same cinematographer responsible for movies like Dunkirk, Ad Astra, and other Christopher Nolan projects. From shots of the California landscape to ones that might set up very creepy, intimidating moments that might send chills down the audience's spine is what really makes this movie stand out. One of my favorite shots and even favorite scenes of the movie is where the UFO is hovering over the Haywood house in a very dark, stormy, thunderous night. And blood descends from the opening of the ship while you hear screams of people inside. In that scene, Hoytema and Peele truly capture the horror of this monstrous object, and combined with the cinematography, the atmosphere, and the lack of music, makes up for something incredibly horrifying. But here's where things in my end get a little bit conflicting. As stated previously in the outset of this review, Peele has experience of injecting social commentary into his plots that makes his audience try to find any deeper meanings or symbolism that might be a bit salvageable to increase this movie's quality. One that handles a little bit bluntly with the elements of racism, and the other that projects commentary about the ideas of the haves versus have-nots, classism, disparity, and even the US, or us as human beings, as being part of the problem. So what social commentary does Peele plan to tackle this time? Well, it's something that's far more different from his previous works. It's the message of how people approach spectacle in the real world. How exploitation, gossiping, and taking in all the glory for the sake of attention can be detrimental to us. You have our main characters, and even at one point a TMZ reporter trying to capture the news for themselves. But a great example has to do with a sitcom incident that has to deal with a chimpanzee mauling one of the character's co-stars' face off. And rather than leaving the tragedy as it was, this unscathed surviving character decides to exploit it. He has a secret museum that dealt with the macabre moment. SNL even did a skit making fun of it. And this character decides to invite the exact same co-star who suffered at the hands of the chimp. Reminiscent and symbolic to a similar instance that happened in 2009 where Travis the chimpanzee literally ripped a woman's face off, and these devastating events were exploited by Oprah Winfrey, who, as a matter of fact, is referenced plenty of times in this film. And I need to get this out of the way in case anyone has any idea of doing any sort of research about that story. If you have a weak stomach or don't have any adult supervision, do not Google it whatsoever. But for the mature, otherwise, view it at your own risk. Now, with examples like that, it can make up for a very compelling story, and when you see it on screen, you can see where the movie is coming from. But is it a bit on the nose and a little bit obvious at points? Maybe. The film does open with a Bible verse from the book of Nahum that basically reads, "I will pelt you with filth, I will treat you with contempt, and make you a spectacle," as it basically highlights the theme of the film right in front of our eyes. We have one secondary character played by Michael Wincott, who is a nature documentary director focused on getting the perfect shot. Even though what he does towards the climax of the movie, just so the stakes can be raised again, is a little bit, what's the word? Contrived. The thing is, I don't mind Jordan Peele covering this topic at all. In fact, I think it's a very interesting subject matter to talk about. It's just that while it works in certain areas of the story, it's that kind of decision making that otherwise, rather than just being naturally written or even subtle, it feels like Peele's script writing doesn't trust the audience enough for them to figure it out for themselves or have the film stand out on its own. If he wants to raise thought-provoking questions at the end, maybe he should put more concentration on making his scripts more subtle and provocative for the audience to go, wow, I never really thought about that before. Let me go rewatch it again. Rather than us at the end going, all right, I get your point. As the third movie in Peele's filmography, Nope is a much more tighter film than Us, but it's not quite up to par with Get Out. Certainly, there are problems with it for sure. It might not be the funniest, and the film is guilty with moments that don't make a whole lot of sense and are downright baffling at worst. But Nope has a bunch more positives than there are ones that bring down the whole final product. Enjoyable? Absolutely. Well written? At times. But is Nope still a film that I recommend you see just for a first and even a second glance, just with its approach of subject matter and its overall narrative? I'd certainly say so. And would you look at that? I did all of that without referencing the Team Fortress 2 joke. I deserve a freaking medal for that. My name is Nukem, and you, my friends, have been blown away.